The courtroom was packed. Reporters filled the back rows. Law students occupied every empty seat. And at the defense table sat 17-year-old Jordan Hayes. He looked terrified. The black teenager had never been inside a courtroom before. Now he faced criminal charges that could destroy his future. Across the room stood attorney Richard Coleman, one of the most aggressive lawyers in the city. And today he looked confident, very confident, because he believed Jordan had nobody to protect him. "Your Honor," Coleman announced loudly, "the evidence clearly proves the defendant's guilt." Jordan's public defender immediately objected. "There are serious questions regarding that evidence." Coleman laughed. "Of course there are." The jury members exchanged glances. Something about the attorney's attitude felt wrong. But Coleman didn't care. He walked directly toward Jordan. "You thought nobody would find out." Jordan looked confused. "I didn't do anything." Coleman smirked. "That's what they all say." The courtroom became uncomfortable. The attorney seemed less interested in facts and more interested in humiliating the teenager. Every answer Jordan gave was mocked. Every statement was challenged. Every mistake was exaggerated. For nearly an hour, Coleman controlled the room. Then he presented the evidence. Security footage, witness statements, documents. Everything appeared devastating. The judge frowned. Jordan lowered his head. It looked like the case was over. Then something unexpected happened. Jordan's defender stood. "Your Honor, we'd like to call one additional witness." Coleman rolled his eyes. "Another delay." The judge nodded. "Proceed." The courtroom doors opened. A tall man in a dark suit entered. Instantly, reporters began whispering. Several attorneys stood up. The judge looked surprised. Even Coleman stopped smiling. The man calmly walked to the witness stand. Jordan looked shocked. "Dad." The courtroom froze. The judge adjusted his glasses. "Please identify yourself." The man nodded. "My name is Michael Hayes." He paused. The room watched. Attorney General of this state. Complete silence. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Coleman's face instantly lost color. Jordan's father. The Attorney General. Whispers exploded throughout the courtroom. Reporters grabbed their phones. The judge leaned forward. "Mr. Hayes, what is your connection to this matter?" Michael opened a large folder. "Because my son is innocent." The room erupted. Coleman immediately stood. "Objection." The judge ignored him. Michael continued. "My office recently reviewed evidence connected to this case." Then he placed several documents on the table. The judge examined them. His expression changed immediately. Coleman looked nervous. Very nervous. The Attorney General opened another folder. Inside were forensic reports, expert analysis, security records. Every piece contradicted the evidence presented by Coleman. The courtroom became silent. Michael pointed to one document. The video submitted by the prosecution was altered. Gasps filled the room. Coleman turned pale. Then another revelation came. Witness statements had been edited. Key evidence had been withheld. Several records had been manipulated. The judge stared directly at Coleman. "Is this true?" The attorney couldn't answer. Michael calmly continued. "For the past 3 weeks, my office has been investigating potential misconduct related to this prosecution." The room exploded with whispers. Coleman looked like he wanted to disappear. Jordan stared at his father in disbelief. The Attorney General opened one final file. Inside were emails, internal messages, evidence logs. Everything pointed toward one person, Richard Coleman. The judge's expression darkened. "You knowingly presented false evidence to this court?" Coleman's voice trembled. "I can explain." But nobody wanted explanations anymore. The judge slammed his gavel. "Enough." The courtroom fell silent. All charges against Jordan were immediately dismissed. The judge ordered a formal investigation into Coleman's conduct. Reporters rushed toward the exits. The story would make headlines within hours. Jordan sat motionless. Only minutes earlier he thought his life was over. Now the truth had finally emerged. As the hearing ended, Michael Hayes placed a hand on his son's shoulder. The courtroom watched quietly. Richard Coleman had entered believing he could destroy a teenager's future. Instead, he had exposed himself in front of the entire court. And for the first time that day, he was the one facing judgment.